deals himself. But I do make them and use them sometimes because I am not my market, as you are not either, because you are doing the selling and they are doing the buying. So you need to learn who your market is, and you need to become that person. You know, he says, I'm not my market, but he should be the market because he needs to be able to get to the place where he understands them, where he's actually walking in their shoes as well, because then he's going to know exactly which one of those categories he's actually marketing to. Writing purposeful and effective copy. Writing purposeful, effective content that is effective in eliciting the desired response from your readers is a challenging task if you do not know who you are writing to. And this is probably one of the biggest things that people have going against them when they're trying to write sales copy. They have not a clue of who they're writing to, so it's very hard. They don't know the questions that people are asking, so they don't know how to answer them. So they're basically, we're just writing a bunch of copy, a bunch of words on a piece of paper and hoping it connects with somebody. You know, it's very challenging if you don't know who you're writing to. Imagine throwing a baseball to home plate or trying to hit a home run with a blindfold on. In both cases, being prevented from seeing your target would make it nearly impossible to hit. This concept can be easily applied to copywriting as well. If you do not know who your target audience is, you're not going to be able to hit it with your sales copy. Writing copy without knowing your target market will prevent you from hitting a home run and reaching your objective of your sales copy. Basically, what's going to happen is they're going to show up, and as they're reading through it, you're not going to make any kind of connection. They're going to end up leaving, and you are not going to get them to take any kind of action except for clicking the little X at the top of the page and going on to your competitors. Know everything about your audience. Hang out where the customers are. A good copywriter will make it easy for people looking for their product to find them. In other words, wherever your target market is, if they're out in social networking, if they're going to live events, if they're hanging out in certain forums or whatever, you need to find these places and you need to get into them so that it's easy for them to find you, because you need to do some research on them. You need to get to know them and start asking them some questions, because you've got to find out everything about them, just like we've been talking about tonight, so you can start connecting with them. Let them start connecting with you and start building that credibility that you need in the forums, in the social media, at the live events, wherever they go. That's where you need to be. You need to know their socioeconomic class. For example, what socioeconomic class would you picture a golfer? Now just stop and think about that. We used this, we used the golfer here before, but stop and think about a picture in your mind that you have right now of who a golfer is. You know, that's what you need to be able to do. You have to be able to form a picture in your mind. You have to know that that picture in your mind is indeed the golfer. You know, you need to know what their education level is. Is it going to be somebody that's got a low education to no education? Maybe, maybe not. Depends on probably who they hang out with. Are they going to have a higher education level? A lot of times, yes, they're going to be a higher education level. They're going to hang out with their friends from college or their business companions or whatever that are, going on these outings and stuff. Even if they don't like to golf a lot of times, they're going to get involved with these just because of the people that they hang around with. Where are they when they're reading your sales copy? This is something that's very important, especially nowadays. But it's also very important to be able to connect with your readers if they feel like you're meeting them right where they're at. Now it's probably a lot of people are reading things on mobile phones. Other times, sitting in front of their computers. So if you know exactly where they're at when you're reading your copy, think about that for a second. How would it be? It's like, hey, I know you're sitting there in front of your computer right now, and you're probably about ready to scream because of whatever is going on, the problem that that they're having. This helps them to say, yeah, I am sitting in front of my computer. It's like, are you spying on me or what? Or hey, you're on your mobile phone right now, and meet that person where they're at. Learn where they're actually reading it from. If it's these young kids and stuff, remember they're probably watching a lot of videos. They're probably got their phones out, texting everybody and reading their email and reading your sales page and stuff on their phones now. Um, a lot of the times the older crowd, they're starting to catch up with the mobile phones, but they might not all be there yet. They could still be sitting in front of your computer. So make sure you know what your target market is using to actually read your sales copy, because that allows you to connect with them and make them feel like you're right there with them and you know exactly everything going on in their life. What is their age? This is going to be something that's very important, especially when it comes to how do you talk to that person. We've got some coming up here in another slide, but talking about, a lot of people will try to, act really cool and use all this slang and everything else, or they're using bad, foul language or something in their sales copy and stuff. That is not going to connect to a lot of people. And it's only going to connect to a very small targeted a bunch of people. And if that's not your target audience, you better be very careful about the kind of language and how you're wording things and the way that you talk, the way that you act and stuff, the way that you come across as you're writing your sales copy. Know their wants. You need to know their desires. You need to know their dreams and their aspirations. So maybe our audience is an older crowd, and you know that their dreams right now and their desires are focused on basically retiring, getting to that place where they can just start relaxing and start doing the gardening and maybe got some income coming in. To know these kind of things, you're going to be able to connect to them because you're going to know what's in their mind, what they're thinking of, what their hopes and their dreams and stuff, and what kind of things they want in this stage of their life. To be able to do that, you're going to be able to write copy that is going to be able to flow right along with those dreams and desires. Know what motivates them and what does not. What is the language they use and accept? We just use the slang here. If you're going to use slang in there, you better be careful, because if your target audience is not somebody that's going to put up with that, you're going to lose them. Unfamiliar words will only make your readers feel ignored and alienated. If they don't understand the words, that slang that you're using, they're going to feel like, I don't even know what this person's talking about. They're not going to feel like you're talking to them. They're going to feel like you're talking to somebody else. And that's going to come across. And you're going to basically make them feel rejected and ignored and alienated. And that X is waiting up in the top right-hand corner for them to click away. You need to mirror your audience. Become like your prospects in appearance, tone, and jargon, and that they're well known with. You basically have to be, when you look in a mirror, you need to be able to see your target audience. You need to become that person when you're writing your copy, because that's how you're going to have the deepest connection with them. Build rapport. The basic fact is people have faith in and put more trust in those who are more like them. So when somebody shows up, and you've done this before yourself, when you show up to somebody's sales page and you're reading through it and you feel like you've made a connection, you feel like, yes, this is me that they're talking about. Yes, this is my problems. Yes, that is the solution to my problem. This person knows who I am. You start putting more trust and faith in that person, even though you really don't know them. You start feeling that person has done their research and knows what's going on with me. And that's going to be something that's very, very important. It gives that personalized feeling as they're reading it, like we've been talking about throughout this training. They're going to feel like you got to know who they were. They don't know you yet, but you took the time to get to know them, and that's going to mean a lot to them. Just to know that you know exactly what they're going through and you have that solution. And they're going to trust the fact that you possibly do have that solution for them. Know the questions being asked by your target audience. I went out and did some research. We're going to stick to the copywriting here. I went out and did some research, and I looked in the forums, and I looked in on Facebook and stuff, and I started looking for questions that people were asking about copywriting. So I basically went out and looking for my target audience and finding out what kind of questions they are. And I made a list here of some of the questions I came up with. And then on the next slide, I'm going to show you the sales copy that you could possibly write to start answering these questions. First question I found was, how can I write persuasive copy that wins the hearts and minds of my prospects and converts them into high-paying customers? When I read this one, I was like, well, this person seems to know a little bit about copy already. They're pretty decent with words. Is there a right way to use swipe copy without feeling like you're stealing someone else's words and avoid plagiarism? What kind of words are considered hot buttons I can use in my sales copy? Now, these are actual questions that I found people asking. Do I need to